Hi, I'm Jonathan, and today on Hanging Out with the Guides, we have Mulan Reiter. Mulan, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Hi.
Mulan is a high performance coach, a master in NLP and hypnosis, and a master in timeline therapy. She partners with individuals who like to create significant changes in their lives, and she is an expert in empowering others so they can find the courage to be the best versions of themselves.
Yeah.
So, Mulan, tell me about who you are and what you believe your role is in this life. When you leave this world, what impact do you want to have left?
Wow, what a huge question you just asked. Uh, as you said, my expertise really empowering others to become the best version of themselves and to have the courage to live according to their truth. I was living a total different life up to 5 years ago when I found out about coaching and what it could do for others and what it did for me. And I absolutely found my destiny. When I discovered this, I remember the first time I went to study this, I went to New York actually, the first course that I took, and I was like, oh, I know these things, it doesn't seem too significant for me. But then as I deepened the techniques and deepened the knowledge, I realized that this is actually super powerful. And not just that, is really works like magic. And I have huge plans, and I want to leave a huge mark in the world. I want to impact as many people as possible. My mission in life is really to help other people find the courage and find the gift that they got from God, and to help them express it and just live the life that they deserve to live. Many people are so afraid these days, to create a small change. Maybe it will rock their bottom somehow, and they just prefer to stay in their own comfortable zone. But you see, when you just break that and you're ready to step beyond that, there's a whole world waiting for you that is just unbelievably different and has so much more to offer. And my mission in life is just to find these people that need this help, just to help them break through all the obstacles so they could be happy, because that's what life is about.
That's a great role. That's a very powerful role.
Thank you.
So how did you get to where you are today? Tell me some of the key parts of your story that might allow people, wherever they are in their own paths, to relate to you and the path you travel to where you are now.
Okay, so I just turned 33 2 days ago.
Happy
And thank you very much. And I was in a long-term relationship since I was 16 until I was 28, 29. And I was with an amazing man for many, many years. He was my best friend, someone that I loved deeply, but I always knew deep inside of me that this is not the right person for me to be with. I loved him like more like a brother or more like a son, and not so much as a partner. And I had to get pushed to the edge. And 30 days before my wedding, my actual date, he proposed a year and a half before, and 30 days before our wedding date, we had 450 guests. I took him to Mexico for his birthday. The wedding was supposed to be in Israel, and I stood in front of the ocean and I said, dear universe, just give me the courage to speak up, because I know I imagined this moment and I knew that this is not the right thing for me. And the universe gave me the courage, and I went and told him that this is not what I want, and my life changed completely. My whole life, like I had the path, everything was planned, and after listening to my true voice and actually find the courage to follow that, I've changed my life upside down, like 180 degrees to the other side. And I used to have a company. I used to sell jewelry from all over the world. I did something completely different. And when I found out how much power my actions actually have over my life, I decided at that moment that I have to share it with the world. Because you see, it's not just what the God gives you or the universe gives you or life circumstances. People think that way. Once you step into being the cause of your life, you can actually create your own reality. And I'm sure you can relate to that too.
Yes.
So that's where everything have changed for me, because instead of just living the life of being the effect of life, I realized how powerful human beings are, and I've changed my life completely. And it's been almost 5 years since then. I went to study coaching. I help people. Then I got an autoimmune condition 2 years after I went to study and called off my wedding and all this. And I realized how important my internal dialogue is. I got an autoimmune condition in my stomach after years of staring at myself in the mirror and just hating my body. And I realized the connection between mind and body, and that's when I turned into NLP. And thank God I healed myself. I don't have any pain in my body, and I feel free of the autoimmune condition that I have, which is priceless. This is the one thing that's the most important thing for me is my health. And I'm healthy today thanks to the changes that I've made with the NLP and nutritional healing that I study, to just free myself from all negative emotions that are stuck in the body and inside the organs. So that's another mission of mine, to help people really find that self-love and love themselves more.
It's interesting to hear um, obviously everything you just said was essentially a relationship. You had a relationship with another person that transformed you as you recognized that you had control over your life, and then you recognized that you needed to improve upon your relationship with yourself when it came to your autoimmune situation, and then obviously each thing propelled you forward to keep you going and going on a path that felt more right for you. But it took, like, being in a place that you didn't feel right enough that it was worth making a change, which is obviously, like, as it is in life.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
So accurate. That's exactly, like, the words are perfectly describing this situation. Totally.
So those are good, powerful stories there, good lessons there.
Thank you.
So as far as those lessons are concerned, what are some of the most important lessons you've learned on your journey, and who have been some of your greatest teachers?
Wow. I think the most important lesson, and I think it takes a lifetime to master it, has to do with self-love. Has to do with the difference between the need to love or to be loved than just love. And the pure love that we all have inside. You see, no matter what life brings, and no matter how many components in your story that were painful or hurtful, eventually we go to sleep with ourselves, with our own thoughts and our own dreams and our own emotions. And the most important, I think for me, the key to a healthy lifestyle is to develop the connection and the relationship with your inner higher self. We all have that. There's no person in the world who doesn't have that. And just to be able to connect to that, and to be able to develop that relationship, so you can listen to your body, you can put good foods in your body, you can be kind to your body, you can be kind to others, you can recognize the good in other people. You see, if you recognize negativity in other people, that's because it exists inside of you. And we all have negative parts. But the question is, what's more important? Where do you put your focus on? If you wake up in the morning, do you wake up thinking about your problems and what you don't have and how hard it is? Or you can wake up in the morning, you could choose something different. You could say, I'm so blessed to be able to wake up and get up of bed and open my eyes and see this beautiful day, even if it's raining or it's snowing and it's cold. there's still something beautiful in it. So I think the most important lesson is first develop the relationship with yourself. Always try to find that self-love. Find reasons to be grateful because we all have reasons to be grateful. And always work on self-development and getting better because it's an ongoing process and which never ends until, until the end. And who knows when is that? So just be present right now and leave the past behind and be able to just change. Every day is a new opportunity for change and for growth. These are the main lessons, I think, in my life, at least.
It's it's always amazing to me how it seems like often we have this sort of default, at least like starting off, where we're looking for the things that are wrong. It's like we're on a mission to find what's bad in our lives and what we don't like.
Yes,
And then we're always trying to look for what's wrong, it seems, so that we can fix it, so we can change it, so that so we can make it better. But in focusing on what's bad and what's wrong and what we're not liking, all we do is increase
attracting
the
more.
number of things that we're seeing that we're not liking, and then actually
Exactly,
increase the number of things we're not liking, because then we end up acting differently and creating more situations that we wouldn't like.
exactly.
And so it's so counterintuitive that we do what we do, and yet it does make some sense because we're looking for those things to fix them,
Yeah.
and then at some point we recognize it's only by looking for the things we like that we're going to get more things we like.
Exactly, exactly. Energy flows where attention goes. So if you have your attention of what is it that I want, you imagine it, you focus on that, then you just attract it. And if you focus on what is wrong and where the problems are, you're just going to attract more problems. And like every person, if you try today, you would see the difference today. It's that simple. It's that simple. Totally.
It's true. It is amazingly simple that I think it was B.F. Skinner trained pigeons to play ping pong, and it seems crazy that you could do that, except all it takes is just rewarding every behavior in the right direction. They move a little
Exactly.
bit in the direction of the ball, so you give them food. They move a little bit closer, so you give them more food. They peck in the direction of the ball, so you give them food. They actually peck at the ball, so you give them food. And then eventually they're hitting the ball over the net back and forth, and it just takes rewarding things in the right direction of what we want. It's rewarding what we like instead of what we don't like, and not
Exactly.
withholding reward because we didn't get everything we want yet. Because if
Exactly.
the pigeons aren't playing ping pong, so you don't feed them, they're never gonna just start playing ping pong. So, so if we could learn from that and train everyone and everything in our lives and ourselves
Yeah,
to actually get the results we want because we reward everything in the right direction, everything that's even a tiny step in the direction of what we want, that we make sure we give that our attention and energy, then we're like you said, energy goes where attention
and
energy flows where attention goes. That ultimately
exactly.
that's true. It's what's going to happen if you reward anything in the right direction of what you want, you'll get that eventually. But if you
Exactly.
keep giving attention to the fact that you don't have what you want, then that's what you keep getting, and it's so
Yeah, and
it's
it's like a
so much
cycle,
simpler.
right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a cycle. It's so
hmm
much simpler than we make it out to be. It's amazing.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, totally agreed.
So, who have been some of your greatest teachers in all of this? Where did you learn all these lessons?
Wow. Okay, so my spiritual home is the Kabbalah Center. I study a lot from my teachers at the center. Not just from the principles of Kabbalah, which are based on the principles of the Torah, which is the Old Testament that has to do with most of the world, right? Christianity is based on that. The beautiful thing about Kabbalah is that you don't really have to have a certain religion to practice that. And that's why I felt really connected to that place. And I learned a lot about how to apply those rules of Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, which means love thy neighbor as thyself. I realize how important this is to just find the good in everybody. And the act of sharing, how important is the act of sharing? I learned that over there. How we tend to just share because we want to receive something back. In the Kabbalah studies, they just keep repeating that, how important this is to just give with no intention to receive anything back, but just to share. If you got a gift, if you're gifted in anything, if you have a certain gift, your obligation is to share it. Because if you won't share it, then you're just wasting that gift. If someone is really talented and they know how to write well, if they don't write, they're actually wasting their gift, because there is a good chance that people are waiting for them to read their writings and to learn from. You see, we're not alone in this world. We impact one another. And if we isolate ourselves, we miss the whole point. And I got really connected to the center about 9 years ago when I opened my business, my jewelry business. And I just had some jewelry there of Kabbalah, and I had to study to know how to sell it, and one thing led to another, and in the past few years I really study on a regular basis. I have another mentor who's amazing, who also, he's a Kabbalist but not a part of the center, and he taught me a lot about energy and about my focus, and how important this is to follow your heart, but also knows that if something scares you, that's exactly what you should be doing, because there's so much light beyond that obstacle that you just need to go through it and know that there's a big light beyond that. And two more teachers, actually three. One of them you probably know is Deepak Chopra. Dr. Deepak Chopra, who is, it's just his state of mind and the way his relaxed way, to find that inner peace just blows my mind away. And one more is Louise Hay, that I love her so much. Her positive outlook on life is just something that the world needs more of. And if we talked at the beginning of this interview about self-love, her books and everything she does has to do with self-love, and she taught me a lot. And the last two teachers are my teachers for NLP and hypnosis and timeline therapy, who just taught me that everything is possible. Everything. And if I think that something limits me, the only thing that limits me is that thought and nothing else. And if I can reprogram that thought, and I can with NLP, because the whole idea is to create new neurological connections in the brain and in the body, and to rewire your mind so you can accomplish anything. So if you could do that, you could do anything. Anything. If a person 400 pounds wants to become 150 pounds, they could do that. Just need to make a decision to have help, of course, like a professional help of someone who can help them create those new neurological connections, and just break the obstacles. Just make new decisions and just follow that path. So luckily, I have great teachers. I'm very, very blessed. I was never asked this question, and now realizing that I have so many good teachers, I understand how blessed I am. I think we all need a few teachers so they can guide us and show us the way.
It's always interesting. Obviously, you can see that sometimes it takes someone asking us a question, or it takes something happening to get us to appreciate some of the things that we have that otherwise we're not even paying attention to. We don't even realize how many blessings we have.
Totally.
When you were talking about the idea of sharing your gift with the world, it's interesting, because just yesterday I said to someone, allow yourself to be the gift to the world that you are.
Yeah.
And that's, so obviously that resonates very much with what you're saying here. That's
yeah, it's all true. It's all true.
It's perfect timing of all this, obviously, as everything always is.
Yes.
So now I want to ask you, what is the purpose of life? Why are we here?
Wow, your questions are huge. What is the purpose of life? I know what's the purpose of my life. If I need to answer what is the purpose of life, the first thing that came into my mind is probably from my unconscious mind, and which I trust very, very much. The first thing that came to my mind was to share. So the purpose of life is sharing. Is sharing light, sharing knowledge, sharing truth, sharing energy, just exchanging energy. And one more thing is love. I think that's the real purpose of life is love, is to love yourself and to love thy neighbor as thyself, so we can share and have this synchronicity of energy, or synthesis of energy, so we can help each other grow and become that huge light that we are meant to become. I think that that's the main purpose of life. So that's a very big question. That's just what comes into mind, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first time you ask me. If we meet here in a month, probably that question is going to be answered in a total different depth.
Mm-hmm.
I just never thought about the global purpose of life. Just pretty awesome.
Well, still, that was a good answer for not having thought
Thank
about
you.
it.
Thank you.
So I have another really big question.
Okay.
uh,
I kind of figured, yeah.
yeah. So tell me about God. Who or what is God? And what is our relation to such a source or being, or however you think of this?
God is the light that that exists in everything in the world. God is everywhere in everything. It's light. It also has to do with love, because love is the strongest force. It's the essence of life. That's what love is for me. That's the way I see love. And and the Creator is everywhere. Is even inside of us. I know. And when I grew up, I thought, when I was a little girl, I always thought that God is this huge entity that is high above, and I should be very fearful because God watches me in everything I do. When I grew up and I started my spiritual studying and my spiritual journey, I realized that actually God hid himself in the one place that we would never look for, and that's inside our bodies and inside our heart. And if you really listen carefully and you quiet the mind, you can actually hear this higher voice of God inside of you. You just need to tune in and listen. And the more I listen, the more I realize how connected I am with that huge force of light. We have more energies within us, but this one big force of light exists within all of us and everything, and is everywhere.
That's great. That's a
Thanks.
really good answer. I like that.
Thank you.
Um, so now, obviously, building on everything we've talked about already, how does the universe work? What are the most fundamental rules or laws by which everything in the world operates?
Okay, so there are a lot, but I think one of the most important ones is so as above, so as below. So your reality is a byproduct of everything that you have in your mind. So the way your mind works is being manifested in the physical world. The mind can be connected. When I say the mind, I mean the conscious mind and the unconscious mind and the higher unconscious mind. These are three different components of our mind. But it depends where your consciousness is. This is what you're going to attract into your life. So we talked a little bit about how important this is to focus on the positive and on what you want so you can attract that. But also it's very important to know that everything we do, every word we say can have a huge impact on someone else's life. As we speak right now, the people who listen to us may take some of what's been said here and apply it in their lives. Imagine if we had this talk with a different consciousness and we just talk about more negative energies. What kind of impact would that have? So just as something, as a small example, I threw my television away about a year ago when I realized that everything I see there it doesn't benefit me, or it doesn't help to improve my life or empower who I am. So I just decided that I don't need my TV anymore. I do read the news, but I don't watch the news. You see, there's a big difference there. I think every action that we take, every word that we give, every thought that we think has a huge impact on other people that we're not even aware of. And one more universal law that I think is very, very important is that you should never, ever, ever hold on to anything that doesn't serve you anymore. So if you have this habit, but it doesn't work for you anymore, then just have the ability and the strength to let it go. And if you don't have the strength to let it go, partner up with someone who can help you, to push you in that direction so you can let go of that. Because you see, we tend to hold on to some stuff, and while we're holding on to those stuff, we don't realize that we stuff ourselves so much. There's no room for this new energy and these new blessings that's supposed to come in our way. We have to let go and release some negative energy so we could receive some positive energy. And also that's with relationships and people. You know, if something doesn't work for you, then I'm not saying just throw it away, because, you know, if it's an important relationship, always try to work on it and do your best. Always do your best, 100%. So when you go to sleep at night, you ask yourself, did I do the best today to be the best that I can be? If the answer is yes, then continue doing that. If the answer is no, then try harder tomorrow. But if something really, you tried your hardest and it doesn't work anymore, let it go. If something should be yours, it will be yours regardless. And also know that the power that you have and the decisions that you make is crucial. Don't just let the world decide for you. Be the cause in everything you do. Because if you be in the effect, you just find excuses to why things don't work out the same way you want them to work out in your life. And when you're the cause, you're responsible for everything that's happening in your life. And that's for the good and the bad, and it just allows you to become that master of your life, and then you can share more and love more and just be more. So I think those are the most important ones, at least for me.
It's you can hear the themes interwoven from what you said earlier, and here the lessons of your life manifested in what you're saying, that obviously we are the cause of our lives, and therefore we are the only ones who can possibly be holding ourselves back, and we hold ourselves back by holding on to things that are less positive for us, and therefore not making room for more positive things for us. And that's where sort of sharing comes into in some sense, one form of sharing is sort of letting go, that we can take in and let go, that we can receive and share, and that each moment can come in, and then we can share it, you know, like that. It's, and so that we go forward and then we leave behind us what is no longer relevant to us, what's no longer supporting us and continuing to move forward. And as long as we're holding on to things, then it's like anchors holding us back,
Exactly.
and we're holding on to things that are not actually supporting us moving forward. And so it's for us to be able to recognize that we are the only ones blocking ourselves from moving forward, and it is by holding on to things, by focusing our energy and attention on things that are not so positive for us, that are not helping us and supporting us moving forward at this moment in time, and that we can let go of them and then move forward and
Yeah,
continue to have
exactly.
more things to share.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
We're in full agreement on that one.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So to boil it all down, what do you believe is the most important thing for every person to know? If you could tell every human being on the planet one thing, what would it be?
Have the courage to follow your truth. Follow that deep truth that is rooted inside of you. We all know the truth. When you know, you know. Find the courage to live the truth because there's always a price. And the price for not following your truth is a lot higher than the changes you'll have to make to follow that real truth inside.
That's perfect. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
It's beautiful to see how everything like coalesces, everything from the experiences of your life to the lessons that you've learned and like putting it all together, and you can see how everything grows out of everything else. Everything is beautifully part of itself, so that it makes perfect sense that you would go through those experiences to become who you are. So from this perspective, looking back, that without the experiences you had, couldn't have gotten to here in the same way with the lessons that now you're embodying and sharing and have built your and are increasingly building your life around. Imagine how different your life would be if the experiences you had that seemed unrelated to this stuff from when you were actually having them, that if they didn't happen, then you wouldn't be here,
Oh
being
my God, yes.
positive messages.
Yeah, totally. Everything happens for a reason, and everything happened exactly the way it was supposed to happen. So you can have that strong experience. So I would be able to burst up and share it with the world in such a impactful, powerful way.
Yeah,
Definitely.
definitely, yes. This was great. Thank you so much, Milan, for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful. Thank you. It was
Yeah,
great talking to you.
it was great talking with you too, and thank you for sharing your stories and lessons with me today.
Of course. Thank you very much.
And thank you to all who are watching. Have,
Yeah. Thanks.
yes, have a great day. Bye.
Bye.